say that America is divided politically, and we kind of agree. There's the dumb, and then there's us.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was that too harsh for the little snowflakes?
This is Right, Left, and Center. This is Right, Left, and Center. No matter what's going on in today's news, politics, social, environment, culture, we're talking about it unabashedly. Real, raw, direct, and funny. Let's rock. This is Right, Left, and Center. And this is your host, Will Jackson.
Hey. We're back. I would like to thank my listeners for all the wonderful comments and emails you've been sending. Now, I have to be honest with you, I haven't got through all the emails yet. But I definitely really appreciate all the good feedback and even some of the negative feedback because, you know, it's my mission to piss people off. That's what I do. Because, you know, nobody's safe here on Right, Left, and Center. So, but before we get started, I hope you have your candy with you. I got mine. I hope you got yours. And so we have a lot to unpack. But before we do, I really need to bring attention to a situation. And it's really hit my heart deeply. And this is where I'm calling on all my listeners, all my great listeners in the Los Angeles area, all of California, Ohio, Nebraska, Texas, New Jersey, my great listeners in New York, my fantastic listeners in Canada, and all over the world, whether it be Australia, France, Sri Lanka, Dubai, India, England, Italy. The list goes on and on. All of you have supported my cast, and I greatly appreciate it. But now I'm asking everyone to support this family. This beautiful family hails from Alliance, Ohio. This beautiful family has been through hell and high water. And they have been working hard to get back on their feet. But before I get to their story, let me recognize this organization and the folks that are attached to this organization. And it was actually brought to my attention by a coworker. And I would like to think of her as a friend. And she has a wonderful husband. Her name is Angie Linder, Linder, and her husband's name is Dustin. And if I'm not mistaken, they are a part of a motorcycle organization called V-Twin Cruisers. And that's based out of Alliance, Ohio, I do believe. Nevertheless, they have been working hard and diligently to get assistance for this family who lost everything. I mean, everything. In 2022, this beautiful family lost their home on Christmas Eve due to a fire. And ever since then, here we are, we're talking about 4 or 5 months later, they're still trying to get back on their feet. And I felt that, you know what, I had an idea. I said, you know what, Angie, how about if I showcase this family on my podcast? And I'm hoping that all my listeners will take an opportunity to help this beautiful family. This husband and wife, Mr. and Mrs. Hessel, And if I mispronounce that, Angie, you can get on me on Monday. And it's spelled Helsel. They have 5 children, 4 dogs, and a cat. And I've seen the pictures, and I'm going to tell you what, this is a beautiful family. It's a very beautiful family. And they're well deserving of your donations. The children need clothes. The pets need food and medical care. They have, let me see here, make sure I get this correct. They do need summer clothes, spring clothes and summer clothes, because, you know, the season has changed. They have been taken care of during the wintertime. For the boys, need adult, medium, and large. And once I give you the site to provide the donations on the GoFundMe, you can then message them and find out exactly what they need. And I'm really, really imploring everyone to really dig deep into their hearts. And you know something? We've had so much turmoil throughout our country from all over. And now it's time for us to do good. Yes, I piss a lot of people off, and a lot of you like when I piss a lot of people off. But y'all can stop laughing at me at any time. Just stop. Anyway, so this family is in dire need. And throughout this show, and I dedicate this show to this family. And I also dedicate it to the Tri-County V-Twin cruisers and all their members. Because in today's climate, you must have the heart of gold to do what you do. And God bless them all. God bless you all. And so here is the fundraiser site. It's excuse me. I'm trying not to get emotional here because this is awesome. It's HTTPS // you know, all that crap, and then GoFundMe /6DAB 8E7B. And I'll put that in the description of the show, so that way you can copy and paste the link, or, you know, type it in, whatever you want to do. But this is dedicated to this family. My heart goes out to you. And I am going to talk about this family over the up and coming weeks until I know this family's got everything they need. And I mean, it's very important. Excuse me. It's very important that this family gets everything. It's a beautiful family. Let's not let them down. Let's not put them in a position where they continue to struggle. Let's get them on their feet. And I'm confident that they will pay it forward. More after this.
Have you been looking for a podcast that takes you beyond the headlines? A show that challenges you. A show that's real, raw, and unapologetic. Then you've found your new home. Right, left, and center.
Right, left, and center.
News, the environment, immigration, politics, the criminal justice system, and everything in between. Join Will Jackson every week, your personal guide to understand the week's news, the world, and how America shapes it. Listen everywhere podcasts are available. You're listening to Left, Right, and Center, your audio guide to help you understand the week's news, the world, and how America shapes it. Now, back to your host, Will Jackson.
got yourself a gun. Yeah, I can't sing. But here's the thing. If I have a few more vodkas, then I think I'm like a Barry White. All right, no, seriously though, folks. We need to talk about gun regulations. Okay? And here's the reason why I want to talk about this is because, and see, here's the thing. I was going to talk about something else, but my writers came back to me and they threw me all off, and I had to reel over the material and go over the facts and etc. But the bottom line is this: we're losing too many lives. Too many lives. Let me explain how many lives, and let me tell you how many lives that we're losing. And we're just talking about from January to March. We haven't hit April yet. And these statistics or this number is alarming. Just for 2023. There have been 119 shootings and killings. And my friends in California, whether it be San Francisco, Goshen, Monterey Park, Oakland, Half Moon Bay, San Diego, Beverly Hills, Los Angeles, Stockton, San Pedro, Sacramento, you guys are leading the way. And oh, by the way, remember the last episode where your man Kevin McCarthy was put on blast on his crime rate in his district. Just saying. You can't make this up. But nevertheless, we really need assistance with these gun violence. And so what I'm seeing, and also Florida, you're right there along with California. And then Louisiana, you're not too far behind. North Carolina, you are not immune to this. Ohio, oh man, I'm going to get on Ohio in just a few. But we are actually struggling there. And then in Texas, you're also struggling in this gun violence situation. And so even one individual in a shooting is too many as far as I'm concerned. Now, this has nothing, this is separate from mass shootings. This is a whole different category. Okay? Actually, I'll tell you what, one of my listeners sent me an email and they told me they wanted, and this is where my writers they get a copy of my emails too, but there's been a lot of requests for me to talk about the gun violence based upon the last episode where I had Jon Stewart. I played a clip of Jon Stewart. Actually, I'll tell you what, those who have actually missed that, and to my new listeners who haven't listened to that and just dived into LRC, let me go ahead and play that for you. Now, I can tell you now, Jon Stewart being Jon Stewart, he's going to drop the F-bomb at the end. So if the children are around towards the end, go ahead and plug their ears, or in fact, just have them get out of the room. But we'll talk a little bit more about this on the other side. Here's Jon Stewart.
I'm a strong proponent of the Second Amendment. I believe the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That's the one right that's listed in the Constitution that uses that very specific affirmative language, shall not be infringed.
It's also the one right that uses the phrase well-regulated.
Correct, when it's talking about the militia and the state.
By the way, just for clarity's sake, I'm not against the Second Amendment. I don't want to ban guns. But you're saying more guns makes us more safe.
Yes.
So when we got 400 million guns in the country, We had an increase and gun deaths went up. So when exactly does this curve hit that takes it down? Would 1 billion guns do it?
Let's just run those numbers. 400 million, 50,000. You're talking about less than a fraction of, not even a percent, of 100th of a percent.
But it goes up, not down. So your argument is backwards.
But if you want, okay, so let's come up with a solution. Okay, so one of the issues, a contributing factor, again, I believe it's the individual that is the problem.
So your solution to that is give them more guns.
So I'm saying that because people are the problem, we need to look at the problems that those people are facing and how do we address it.
But you've removed the ability for the state to do that.
No, because you're...
If you don't have background checks and you don't have registration and permitting, how do you know who has a problem in terms of the people who you're giving a gun to?
Do you want to talk about the background checks first, or do you want to talk about solutions first?
I want to talk about what you're doing is you're bringing chaos to order.
That's your subjective opinion, that it's bringing chaos to order.
It's not my subjective opinion. We have 50,000 gun-related deaths. That's not a subjective opinion.
Okay, so
that's dead people. Let me back up for a second. In every other place in your life, you want to bring order, but guns are the outlier for you. So let's start with immigration. You want registration, maybe a wall, maybe not a wall. Why do you want that?
Well, one of the reasons is because of the fentanyl crisis.
Right.
I mean, okay, but...
you don't know when it's coming across. So what do you do?
But the fentanyl crisis is twice what the gun death crisis is.
Okay, so until the gun crisis gets to the fentanyl level...
Not until it...
You don't want to bring order.
No, not until it... But
do you see my point?
If we're going to talk about protecting lives, that's a larger issue in America than guns is. If we're talking about individual lives of ways that they can be protected, loss of life in America, there's loss of life through fentanyl. There's loss of life through obesity. The obesity crisis in America costs 6 times the number of lives as guns.
Right, and so, you're the guy saying, you know what would help this? Ice cream.
No. So, you know what would help the problem that we're facing with firearms?
What?
The fatherlessness crisis that we have in America. If you look at the statistics...
Right. Yeah, they're dying from gun deaths.
80% of school shooters either came from a broken or fatherless home.
So you would say no guns for fatherless homes?
No, that's not what I would say. I would say that fathers need to be more engaged.
Great. So let's
crime with a firearm if they don't have a father in the home.
Let's put more resources into areas that are poverty-stricken. All for it.
And into fatherlessness. And that's something that we're doing in Oklahoma.
But why with guns are you against bringing order?
I'm not against bringing order.
You are. You're also making it less safe for cops and for people. When the police go to a domestic call, it's the most dangerous call they can go on. In your world, if they knew that there were firearms in the house, that's a safer call. Is that what you're saying?
No, because police...
Because why?
Because police treat every situation as a potential...
But more guns makes us safer. So why don't, when the police go to a house filled with guns, why don't they breathe a sigh of relief knowing that this Second Amendment that shall not be infringed is being exercised so fruitfully in this home?
Are you familiar with the 39-year-old woman in New Jersey?
I'm familiar with a ton of anecdotes. I'm asking you a simple question.
This is not an anecdote,
When the police
go
to a house...
She had a restraining order on her ex-boyfriend.
I can run through hundreds and hundreds of examples of women killed by their domestic partners by guns that were not taken away through the lessening of red flag laws. You're pivoting to anecdotes.
No, this is not anecdotes.
What the police say, if we had gun registration, if we were able to track purchases, they have a technology that every bullet would be stamped with an individual like a fingerprint. If we had an ATF that wasn't defunded, we would be able to enforce gun laws more effectively, and we would be able to solve gun crimes more effectively. You're against all of that.
Because the person is the threat, not the firearm, not the knife.
I get it.
The person, the individual is the one that is the concern here.
But you don't want anything that could help law enforcement or society determine whether or not a person is a good guy with a gun or a bad guy with a gun.
Even
the registry would allow you to have much more effective background checks. So I don't understand why you won't just admit that you are making it harder for police to manage the streets by allowing all of these guns to go out without permits, without checks, and without background stuff. Why is that hard? Why can't you just stand by that?
Because that's not what I'm doing. I'm defending the individual's right to keep and bear arms.
That's a different argument.
Okay, but
you may do. Here's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
You want to say I'm a Second Amendment purist and I'm making it safer. You're not. You're making it more chaotic, and that's not a matter of opinion. That's the truth.
That is a matter of opinion, John.
But why take away their tools?
Because certain of their tools that they're using would be infringements upon the people's right to keep and bear arms, upon their constitutional rights, upon due process, upon other things.
That registering is an infringement?
Yes.
Okay. Is voting a right?
It's a right for citizens, yes.
Do you have to do anything to do it?
Yes.
What do you have to do?
It depends on the state.
What do you have to do?
Sometimes you have to be at least 18 years old.
What do you have to do?
And in some places you have to have a government-issued ID.
What do you have to? You have to
be on the voter rolls?
Register. You have to register. So you have to register to a right. Is that an infringement?
Does the right to voting say shall not be infringed?
Oh, so this is just a semantic argument now.
No, it's not.
You believe voting rights can be infringed because it doesn't say specifically shall not be infringed.
Is it an infringement upon a 17-year-old's right to vote, since they don't have that right to vote?
No.
Oh, it's not an infringement on them?
No,
okay.
Absolutely not.
Why not?
Because you're the one making the argument, not me. I'm saying even rights have responsibilities, and that within those responsibilities are responsibilities and order. Otherwise, it's chaotic. I'll go you one further. You want to ban drag show readings to children.
To minors, yes.
Why?
Why?
What are you protecting?
Why can we prohibit children from voting, those under 18 from voting?
Why are you banning?
Also that?
Is that free speech? Are you infringing on that performer's free speech?
They can continue to exercise their free speech, just not in front of a child.
Why?
Because the government does have a responsibility to protect.
I'm sorry?
The government does have a responsibility in certain instances to protect children.
What's the leading cause of death amongst children in this country? And I'm going to give you a hint. It's not drag show readings to children.
Correct, yes.
So what is it?
I'm presuming you're going to say it's firearms.
No, I'm not going to say it like it's an opinion. That's what it is. It's firearms. More than cancer, more than car accidents. And what you're telling me is you don't mind infringing free speech to protect children from this amorphous thing that you think of. But when it comes to children that have died, you don't give a flying fuck.
Don't give one. Don't give one.
Shall not be infringed. That is hypocrisy.
That is,
highest order.
That's my man, Jon Stewart. I love me some Jon Stewart. You can find him on Apple TV. But I'm going to tell you something. He's telling the truth. See, here's the thing. And this is before I get to the state of Ohio. Okay, enough of that. This is before I get to the state of Ohio. See, here's my whole deal with this. Facts do not lie. Facts do not lie. Now, you know what? I don't want to infringe on anybody's right to carry a firearm, but there is a responsibility to that. And here's where I'm going to piss some people off. A lot of you out there who have firearms don't need to have a firearm. Because, see, the thing is that you need to go through a check for public safety. Now, I'm not a big proponent of today's law enforcement. Now, I've said this before. I have a cousin in Worcester, Ohio, who is a detective who's in law enforcement. My daughter, who is with the East Cleveland Police Department. So, but, other than that, there are officers out there that are just simply bad. We get that. So let's slide that to the side, okay? Let's talk about officer safeties. See, when people out there who don't need to have a gun or a firearm has a firearm, they're not only endangering, they're endangering the public. And how do you not want to regulate that? Let's see. Here's some information that was pulled up by a website. And this is a legitimate website where you can get up-to-date information on gun violence. The website is GVA, Gun Violence Archives. And it actually pulls all together all the statistics, no matter what state or city, and where the shooting is taking place. From mass shootings to accidental shootings, accidental injuries by shootings, and we'll even break it down by age. If you don't believe me, go to this site, gunviolencearchives.org/Congress, and you can pull up your state and see how your state is doing. Let's take a look at the state of Ohio. And this information is published from 2013 all the way up to today, 2023. Based upon this information, the mass shootings in the state of Ohio is 159. Mass murders are 11. The number of children from the age 1 to 11 killed is 116. These are babies. 116. Injured, 313. The number of teens from the age of 12 to 17, 375 since 2013 has been killed. The number injured is 1,357. Officer involved incidents that was killed, 17. Officer killed or injured, 76. Officers involved incidents killed, 369. Subject suspected of killing or injuring an officer is 252. I mean, then let's go into the unintentional shootings. The unintentional shootings is higher than the murder-suicide incidents. The unintentional shootings is 902 since 2013. And the murder-suicide incidents is 227. That's 227 more than what should actually be. I mean, this is what we're facing. There are too many deaths and our babies out there. I don't care if you're in a country or you're in a city or you're in a township or you're in a plain township. I don't care where you are. I don't care if you're in Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey. It doesn't matter. These babies are dying. And then on top of that, what you have is parents that are not responsible enough to lock up their weapons. And then you have children going to school and shooting other students. I don't know if you guys remember the 6-year-old who walked into a class. And also, by the way, it was reported that the 6-year-old was bringing a gun to school. And everybody shrugged it off. He goes into his classroom, looks at his teacher with a dead look in his eye, and shoots her. By the grace of God, she survived. Who should be held accountable? Well, see, you can't charge a 6-year-old. You can't do that. I mean, are you going to put a 6-year-old in prison? No. Hell, you won't even hold accountable those who are just under 18, charge them as adult and give them life sentences, and then turn around and say, oh, well, they didn't understand what they were doing. So they should be eligible for parole. Bullshiggity. That's a whole bunch of jackassery happening right there. The bottom line is when you're a teenager and you do something that you're not supposed to do, you should be held accountable. Simple as that. These kids are getting a hold of parents' guns, taking them to school, and killing folks. And then you have some of these knuckleheads, I'm not going to say any names, but you know who they are, and saying that these things are a hoax and it's a fake and it never happened. Like, for example, Sandy Hook. People saying it didn't. No, wrong answer. It did happen. The children died. And they lost their lives. Now, I'm quite sure a lot of my listeners out there have children, have grandchildren, and doesn't want that to happen to them. Well, here's the thing. You need to get a hold of your legislators. Now, I'll talk about my favorite senator or congressman in the 4th district, the Duck District, the one I always talk about, who will never get off my Sheldon list, Mr. Jim Jordan. And oh, by the way, Troy, Ohio, I'm just going to keep bugging you until you guys email me and tell me that you're going to do something about him, or you got a bug that you're placing in his ear. Because all he is a bunch of bark and no bite. He doesn't do anything. See, here's the thing. Throughout the United States, everybody's worried about all this other crap that really doesn't mean anything, especially when you got people who lose their homes behind fires. There's no programs to help them. You got homelessness. The wintertime, people are sleeping on grates in big cities, and in smaller cities, they're sleeping wherever they can to keep warm. You got children out there hungry. They can't. There's certain school systems that don't have after school programs to help feed these children. You got single parents out there that need assistance. And oh, by the way, if they make $14 an hour, they make too much. But their taxes are put into the social welfare system for people who don't want to get off their ass and work. And they want to keep having babies and live off the system. See, there's a lot of work to be done. And talking about somebody's sexuality or taking a book off a shelf is far from helping the system. It's far from being helpful. All this grandstanding and all this, you know what? Here, I'll tell you what. I'm just going to be honest with you. And this is why I got to have my candy. Hey, Angie, you remember the peach stuff? I need it. More after this.
You're listening to Left, Right, and Center, your audio guide to help you understand the week's news, the world, and how America shapes it.
Now, back to your host, Will Jackson.
Yummy, yummy. So let me, before I dive back into my soapbox, once again, I really would love for everyone to help me out with the Hessel family. Let's pull together. Let's band together. Let's go to the GoFundMe page. Let's get these people what they need. Let's get this beautiful family what they need. And then, and I can't give enough thanks for the Tri-County V-Twin Cruisers for sponsoring and helping this family. It's a great thing, and I really appreciate all the goodness that comes out of this, because we have a responsibility as a society. No matter what part of the country you're in, we have a responsibility to bend the knee and reach our arm out to help those in need. And this family is deserving. This family needs our help. Please help this family. Now, let's dive back into this, because before I got it. Here is my favorite senator who will never get off my Sheldon list. the dishonorable Jim Jordan.
Reserves. Gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, I urge a no vote on this legislation. Proponents say that this bill doesn't violate due process. Nothing can be further from the truth. You haven't been charged with a crime, but there's a hearing that you're not allowed to be at. You can't be present there, a hearing where you don't have a lawyer, and a hearing where a judge can take your property. So again, just to underscore this, you haven't been charged with the crime. There's a hearing where your property and your rights are at stake. You're not allowed to be there. Your lawyer's not allowed to be there. You can't confront your accuser, but they can take your gun. They can take your property. They can take your Second Amendment liberty. And here's the scariest part of all. As my friend from Kentucky just pointed out, the Democrats say, this is just the first step. This doesn't go far enough. Holy cow. So that kind of proceeding doesn't go far enough when it comes to your Second Amendment liberties. One of the key things that separates this great nation from all other countries is how we have due process in our justice system. This bill takes it away. No other way to put it. You can say all day long that it doesn't violate due process, but as I said just a few minutes ago, every time I hear that, experience has taught me that it most certainly does. When you have to say it, it probably does. In this case, it is certainly violating due process, and for that reason alone, there are other problems, but for that reason alone, we should vote no. And again, the scariest thing of all is they're saying, oh, this is just the first step. This doesn't go far enough. Imagine where they want to take us. Their beef is with the Second Amendment. They want it to go away. Don't let it happen. I urge a no vote and yield back the balance of our time.
Gentleman yields.
Enough of hearing that sickening voice. Mr. Jordan, since 2013, we've had 902 unintentional shootings in Ohio and murder-suicide incidents in since 2013 of 227. We've had children who lost their lives, and I'm just talking about the state of Ohio. We're not talking about nationwide. I haven't even dived in those figures because that's depressing within itself. See, here's the thing. People in our congressional and senatorial areas are focused on things that should not be focused on. I believe that a child's life is more important than any adult life. In fact, life is very important irregardless. But if I have to pick the lesser of two evils, I would rather be shot in the head rather than if that would save the life of a child. See, the thing about it is that these parents that are out there right now who have their gun collection, they tend to lose these guns to their children. Now, let's go back to the 6-year-old that shot a teacher. Now, this child cannot be charged. Now, what if that teacher that was shot by this child, this 6-year-old child, was your mother, your aunt, your sister, your grandmother? How would you feel about that? Wouldn't you want something to be done? Now, keep in mind, with today's law, you cannot charge a 6-year-old. Now, here's the thing. I'm not saying charge a 6-year-old. What I'm saying is you charge the parents. And, oh, by the way, the good senator from Oklahoma who decided to get shellacked for 15 minutes of fame on Jon Stewart's show. And he got shellacked. Needs to reevaluate the direction of the message. Parents should be responsible for their children. That means if you're not of age and you cannot vote and you're still in school, you need to be held accountable as a parent. So I would say that parents or those parents need to be charged capital murder. You start charging these damn parents, you'll find that you will get people being more responsible for what they need to do. See, this is not a left situation or a right situation or a progressive or a whatever situation. This is not, there is no political value to it. What it is about safety today. Now, am I a gun owner? Yes, I am. Now, I don't normally carry Lucy any more than what I have to. But let's just say this. Don't try me, Skippy. Let's just put it out there. Don't try me, Skippy. The bottom line is this. Our country is in a disarray. And I don't care what political party you are associated with. And those who know me know that no one, and I mean no one, is safe because common sense takes forefront over any political situation. The bottom line is that we have beautiful children out here. The only thing that they need to be responsible for is going to school and learning to do the right thing and be good, productive citizens. They should not be a product of a negative environment of their home. Parents need to be held responsible every time a child gets a gun, walks into school, and shoots somebody. Got yourself a gun. Now you're doing 10 to 20, or you're doing life. Or hell, I'm a big proponent of the death penalty. I'm sorry, folks, but I am. Strap them down and shoot them up. More after this.
Have you been looking for a podcast that takes you beyond the headlines? A show that challenges you. A show that's real, raw, and unapologetic. Then you've found your new home. Right, left, and center.
Right, left, and center.
News, the environment, immigration, politics, the criminal justice system, and everything in between. Join Will Jackson every week, your personal guide to understand the week's news, the world, and how America shapes it. Listen everywhere podcasts are available. You're listening to Left, Right, and Center, your audio guide to help you understand the week's news, the world, and how America shapes it. Now, back to your host, Will Jackson.
Excuse me, I will be dedicating the next few shows to this beautiful family, the Hessel family. Let's make sure that we do all we can to get these folks everything that they need. You can go to GoFundMe, gofund.me 6BABAE7B. And that will take you directly to their site. And also, I will make sure that's in my description so you can copy and paste it or click or whatever. You can also see that description. My platform is Speaker and iHeartRadio. And so you can actually get to it through that. And you will probably also see it under my other platforms that I'm on, whether it be Deezer or Chromecast, Amazon Audio, you name it. It's all out there. Please help this family. I won't ask for anything outside of this. Is to help other folks, because this is very important. And this is very important to me. And once again, a great organization who is heading and helping these folks, Tri-County V-Twin Cruisers. And I do believe Dustin and Angie Linder are a part of this organization, and they're very passionate about it, which makes me passionate about it. So thank you too. I greatly appreciate everything you do. Now let's get back to my soapbox. And so I want to talk about. I just want to mention the teen deaths of 2023. There have been 25 teen deaths. One death by guns is too much. It's too much. And we need to do all we can to fix this. See, we are in a crisis. And we need to mitigate this. We can't we can't just sit on our 4 points of contact and not address this situation, because it's very important. We all have children. I have grandchildren. And I'm worried about my grandchildren going to school or going to daycare and something happening to them. Lord knows, and Lord knows, if something does, I'm going to tell you what, Papa Bear is coming out. The judge can just lift the jail and just set me up under it and then drop the jail. That's the way I feel. The bottom line is that we have more gun violence than any other country in the world. And we're talking about, like, if you put the United States against France, Canada, England, Germany, Japan, our gun violence is higher than that. And we lead, and I'm talking about a margin that's like 20 football fields length. This is the reality that we face here in the United States. And we need to start focusing on the right things, not the wrong things. You know what? If someone has an alternative lifestyle, that's between them and God. That has nothing to do with you. Parents should be responsible for reading, or what the child is reading, and also what they're focused on their phones. That is a parent's responsibility. It is not the government's responsibility. And the government should not be raising our children. And that's just fact. And once again, I'm just going to put it out there. I'm just saying, wait a minute, hold on, time out. Sometimes I got to have a little candy to calm myself down. Y'all know me. I get on my soapbox too much. The bottom line is this. There should not be, in 2023, 15 accidental shootings of children because parents cannot lock up their guns or firearms. Death does not have a religion or a color or social standing. And if you believe that, you're about as dumb as I thought you'd be. The fact is that a child's life is very precious, and it's up to us as adults. Oh my. People are emailing me already. It's up to us as adults to be more responsible. My final thoughts right after this.
You're listening to Left, Right, and Center, your audio guide to help you understand the week's news, the world, and how America shapes it. Now, back to your host, Will Jackson.
Here's my final thoughts. Everyone needs to register. I don't really care for the law that anyone can carry a firearm if you're not convicted or you have a felony. I mean, it should not be. See, if I had it my way, everyone would have to go through a 7-day firearms training. During that 7-day firearms training, which you would have to pay for, you would also have to pay for a state certified psychological screening. And even paying for that class, non-refundable, if you're deemed to be an individual that is not recognized by the state as being a healthy individual, mentally healthy individual, to maintain a firearm, then you should not get one. You should not get one. See, me, I'm very qualified. I have combat experience that will tell you that I'm qualified. I can close my eyes and take apart Lucy and put her back together again without opening my eyes. And me and Lucy have a great relationship. Lucy is locked up. And she never has any explaining to do. The only explaining that would need to be done by Lucy is when you come into my home, or you threaten my wife, you threaten my children, you threaten my grandchildren, and I'm in the proximity of that, and you receive that warning. Make no mistake. Yes, we all have the right to bear arms. But a lot of us don't have the right because we have not been vetted. They have not been vetted. They need to be vetted so we can stop this bullshit that's happening throughout the country. Children that are walking into schools, firing a firearm, taking lives of other students. Parents need to go to jail. They need to be charged with, and if there's a death in the commission of a crime, they need to face a capital charge. They either need to get the death penalty or they need to serve life without parole. There's no consecutive crap. You need to serve life without parole. That will curb all this nonsense that's going on now. I mean, we need to, you know what? We don't need to focus on all this other ancillary crap. We need to focus on making sure that not only our gun rights are protected, but we vetted the individuals that can carry a firearm. We need to make sure those are more responsible than the person next to them, because I'm gonna tell you something. There's some crazies out there, and if you think for 1 minute that your child is safe, and you have nothing to worry about, then you're about as disillusioned as the next person. Remember this family I talked about. Until next week, knuckleheads.
You've been listening to Right, Left, and Center. Our passion is to talk about today's news, politics, the environment, culture, and anything else that helps shape the news in America. Our 2022 season was so strong, we had to come back and smack 2023 right in the mouth. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And continue to listen on iHeartRadio, Spotify, or anywhere you download your podcasts. See you next time on Right, Left, and Center.